Okay, time to make some improvements on my Vtuber. Oh, right, I didn't draw it on this computer. Wait, it's not backed up on my Dropbox either? Okay, no problem. It should be on my old computer. Hey, Jamie, can you look for this file for me on the iMac? Oh, right, you deleted all the old files, because I told you that you could. No problem, I'll just get it from my hard backup. Hard drive corrupted. Your life is ruined. Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne, and as you just saw in our animated presentation, I have lost the original art for my Vtuber model Lillie. Because of this, my original plan of simply making a few improvements and toggles to promote the new Lillie plush is no longer an option. Now we have to rebuild. For some reason, I have 3 backups of this flattened version of her, the way that VTube software actually needs her, all in bits. It kind of looks like she exploded, but 0 actual source file. So first, let's see if we can piece her back together. This was honestly more fun than I expected, but also revealed how botched some of the pieces of Lillie were. Like, what is this? Hello? I'll be painting over and fixing all of these. We're going to make her model spotless, or like as close to perfect as we can. This was actually a fantastic way to start this project because seeing all the pieces apart really helped me see what I was going to have to fully replace and what things were kind of fine as they were. I also kind of forgot how I structured things like her top and her arms and her skirt and that kind of thing, and that's going to be really useful when I make her a new outfit. One of the things that I'm planning on completely changing is actually her mouth. Now, I have seen these really great tutorials online about how to make the mouth movements more accurate. My original Lillie model basically just had mouth flaps like an anime character. I did end up improving her a little so that she could smile and it literally wasn't just like a a little like angular frown to like a full smiling mouth, which is what I started with. But even then, like, I didn't actually have like the inside of her mouth and her top and bottom lip as like separate objects. It was an extremely simple way of animating the mouth. I want to actually go in and do it, I would say, like the more popular or proper way, where you have a lot more actual articulation of what you're actually saying instead of just like blah 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 blah, if that makes sense. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to make the rigging way harder than what I did the first time. So I'm a little bit scared about that. Another new piece of art I'm going to have to make in this video is I am going to make her some new irises. So you guys know that one of the most iconic things in like my art style is that the irises of my characters change shape depending on what they're thinking of, and I think it's absolutely unacceptable for me to have a VTuber who can't do the same. So we're going to have to trudge through the difficult challenge of toggling so that I can switch her irises depending on the mood, and I think it will look so cute and so cool. Alright, so time to reconstruct the mouth. Now, like I said before, originally it was just an open mouth and a closed mouth. Now I'm basing these pieces off of Kira Omori's guide on how to do like mouth rigging and mouth parts. I'm gonna try to shout out everyone whose tutorials I followed very closely because I really am quite a beginner at this still. So you make a top and a bottom lip and the teeth and the tongue and then like the inside of the mouth, and the inside of the mouth box looks really scary to me. The tongue looks really strange, but you're just trying to think about how these things are not always going to be visible. It's really just about making it so that you can warp the upper and lower lips around these forms in their mouth and make it look like they're really talking. I think that this is going to look a lot more 3D, and it's going to look more like the like ah, e, u, a, o kind of like sounds and consonants rather than just the like bop 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 lip flaps. Now, we're not going to know until the rigging starts if these pieces are actually finalized, but I think they look pretty good, and I'm trying to eyedropper tool as much as I can so that these new pieces match the old ones. Alright, so next we have to design the new irises. I have always wanted to do this and I just put it off and put it off because honestly working on my VTuber is so intimidating. I find it very hard, but I'm so glad I'm doing this now because this is always what I pictured for her. I mean, it's just such a big feature of my art style, and I feel like VTuber technology is so cool and so well adapted to this kind of like dynamic character design. So I'm just making sure to actually draw them on her face so that I know that it's roughly the right scale. They are such different shapes than the skulls that it was kind of hard to fit them in and scale them correctly. And when I first plopped them in, she looked quite cross-eyed, which I did end up fixing. Of course, these are going to have to be completely separate pieces on separate layers so that they can move independently. And once I was done with the hearts, I wanted to do kind of the opposite, like an evil or angry iris. At first, I was just going to make her skull eyes angry looking, and then I thought about doing a star because I love to draw the star eyes, but I realized it's too similar to the hearts just emotionally. So I ended up actually switching to these like glowing, scary, evil kind of yandere kind of eyes, and I honestly love how they turned out, especially on her like where the whites of her eyes are dark. I think it looks so cool, and I decided I was actually going to pair this with two other cool little features. One of which is this dark shadow that comes down in a gradient over her eyes, and then I wanted to switch out her cute gap teeth for scary like sharky teeth. I definitely think now that those are not tall enough. I think that's going to cause problems in the rigging, but we'll cross that bridge when we rig it. Next, I wanted to experiment with having an actual like closed eye layer. I felt like the closed eyes never looked quite right. It was the case that never sat right with me with the VTuber, and she had a lot of issues with her eyes. You all who have been to the streams know about her famous and iconic droopy eye, which I kind of love and kind of was super annoyed by. So I thought one of the ways I could mitigate this is if I could like pop in with opacity this closed eye and find a way to like meld her open eye to this. After doing more research, I actually don't know if this is possible, and I also think she looks a little strange. I was having a lot of fun with these big closed eyes and kind of like the eyelid, but it looks sort of weird to me now, so I guess we'll see if I actually end up using these. I do think that, you know, a closed eye that you actually draw rather than one that you form in the program is gonna look better, but I'm not actually sure if this is something I can do. I guess we'll find out. I do think she looks cute in a way, and I like the little like actual shape of her orbs underneath. I kept messing with the tendrils too, because like I felt like there was weird stuff going on with the sides of her face, but her tendrils are just whack. Next, I wanted to design her braid. This is another thing like the irises that I always pictured adding onto her, and I meant to in my first series, but basically I ran out of time and energy. But one of the great things about this little crown braid that's on the back of her design is it's going to help with the 3D effect of her turning her head, which is one of the hardest things in a VTuber rig, to like get that 3D effect, because it's not 3D. You're moving around 2D pieces and warping them to make it look like it's 3D. But the more sort of like parallaxing you can do with different layers rather than just the back of her head, I think it will look so much better. This was just like fun and satisfying, and like being able to sort of scrink it around and change the size really was, I don't know, it was enjoyable. I think she looks so cute with the extra detail. Next, I wanted to give her a new outfit. Because it's getting close to that holiday time, I really wanted to give her something kind of warm and less Halloween-y, and I think I kind of landed on something that's just perfect for her. Initially, I was going to try again to get that RIP tombstone shaped cowbell around her neck. I don't know why, it always works for me in my mind and never in real life, but once again, I ended up removing it. I really like this idea of like an overall dress, and her floppy little sleeves being kind of more of like a sweater It's a sweater paw situation. This is a bit more complicated, and I do think I rendered it a little bit in more detail than I did her original outfit, which is actually a bad thing. I think I want her to look really cohesive, like no matter what version you're seeing, but I was honestly just like falling into a fugue state, having fun like drawing all of the little clothing details, and I tried to make her little buttonholes on her apron look a little bit like a screaming ghost. I don't know if it actually reads, but like, you know, it's in there for me. I think it's cute. And I ended up going with this like kind of warmer tone for her undershirt instead of the cool white that I have in her original design, as well as a sort of cranberry corduroy. That's what I'm picturing it as, on the main body of her overall dress. Her little pockets are lined with this plaid pattern, and I do think it looks very, very cute. I just pieced these two pieces apart the same way that I did with her initial outfit, and I tried to basically make it the exact same silhouette because I don't want to like totally redesign the way that she moves. I just want her to be able to switch outfits, but I did want to add on a little hat. I just think it's way too cute, and the way that it has to kind of be a little cockeyed because of her one horn, I think is very adorable and draws attention to original details of her design that I like. I had to add in one more scary element to her sleeves. They ended up getting quite long because of this, but I ended up turning those little like corded, I don't know what you call it, like the way that a sleeve gathers. I turned that into like teeth, and you can even see a little like fragment of like the gums between the teeth, and that's matching the same color as the body of the dress, and I really like it. I wanted to have a tongue dangling out as well. Maybe I'll add that, I don't know. I think with the physics it could look absolutely insane, but I just wanted to add a bit more of that Halloween flair, even though this is more of like her winter outfit. I had a lot of fun kind of like trying to make the fabric look more soft and just like it actually has some texture to it. This is where I think I went a little too crazy with the rendering, like it doesn't match the cell shading of the original design, but you guys promised not to notice, right? Thank you. But yeah, like here's her new outfit. I think it's pretty adorable. I don't know how much extra work this is gonna add because I've never had to make a new outfit for my VTuber before, but I guess we'll find out when it's rigging time. I'm saying that a lot in this video, and I'm a little bit scared about how much work I've pushed on to myself for the rigging portion, but I think that's just unavoidable because until we're actually in the program, I never know how these pieces are actually going to interact. One more thing I wanted to do was clean up this back of headpiece. This one is so messy, it actually makes me a little mad. Like, it's just all wrong, but I went back in, I tidied it up, and then I made sure that it actually was like working well with the braid and everything. I shrunk it down a little bit and made the braid bigger, and now I think we are at a much better point. Well, that's all the new bits of art that I had to do, which means there's only one thing left. I've rigged her before, how bad could it be? Well, that's not how that's supposed to look. What is that? Oh my god. Yeah, I can totally tell what's happening here. Thank you so much for watching till the end of the video. If you're interested in the plushie or my new digital artist enamel pins, please check out the links in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much to my patrons and members, including Pale Star, Darkholder, Frog Scourge, Zucchini, Zio Reyes, The Main PC, Esther Kaufman, Sopapia, Roger Baker, Pretty Little Head Poppy Seed, Heichol, Neko Omori, Trexa Panda, Lucians, Lonely Zealot, Novel Goblin, The Mousy Mouse, Clown of Clubs, Prince Piplup III, I'm a Potato, Honey Kitten, Loro, Data, Lily McFarlane, Skitten, Gold Pikachu. The names are gone, Crodotus, Rectangle, Blanket of Misery, Moves Like Platinum, Sunday Good Enough, Ace Warner, Jordan, Clown of Clubs, Jeffu, Sunshine, River the Goblin, Raz Tarosh, Casey, Graveyard Moss, Grexius, Emma Lightning, The Midwestern Menace, CB, Lucy Yamajiki, Ravenscrow, Zocelot, Jabber Dabber Doo, Light Julie, Kadaria, The Expressive Poker Face, Tsubaki, Cutie Pie, Ice Cream Pal, Cola, JJ Jade, and of course, blah 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 blah.